Good morning and welcome to our daily devotional from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn. Very glad to have you with us on this Wednesday, April the 5th, 2023. And we are studying this week from Romans chapter 6, verses 3 through 11. This is one of the most discussed passages in the book of Romans, a central passage concerning baptism, actually. And so I'm going to focus on a couple of verses this morning and offer a few remarks and then close us with prayer. So this is Romans chapter 6, verses 5 and 6. Romans 6, 5 and 6. For if we have been united with him in a death like his, we will certainly be united with him in a resurrection like his. We know that our old self was crucified with him so that the body of sin might be destroyed and we might no longer be enslaved to sin. So we talked last night in our Bible study about this passage and about how Paul understands our relationship to the Messiah as one in which we actually participate within the death of the Messiah with the Messiah. And now what should be clear, I think, is that when he says that we're united with him in death, and that in verse 6, we know that our old self was crucified with him so that the body of sin might be destroyed. It seems fairly clear that he's not talking about simply our physical bodies, because we don't die, we keep on living. Paul kept on living and kept working. It also, so it's not this death is not a death that is the physical death of the body. We also know that Paul did not limit this idea in such a way. He didn't intend to say that we don't sin anymore, that sin is no longer a part of the life of the Christian. Paul clearly knew and understood that Christians would still struggle with certain things, and he himself talks about his own struggles in other places. So when he says that we're crucified and the body of sin might be destroyed, he's not saying that while we are living, we don't have any more troubles with sin. So he is making a very spiritual claim. It's one, I hesitate to say spiritual only because in our culture, spiritual things are so light and have such little substance. That's not what Paul meant. It is a spiritual claim, but for Paul, this means that it's the most substantive thing that one can claim. It is not only the most important, but also the most real. So when he talks about our old self being crucified with the Messiah and that our body of sin being destroyed, he's making the strongest claim to reality that he can make. That is, that we are not aligned anymore with sinfulness. The life of sinfulness, the power of sin, the reign of sin in our lives is over. We don't live in that country anymore, might be another way to put it. And so this is a very spiritual claim, but also a very substantive one. That is, today, right now, in our relationships with other people, in our relationships with creation, our old self, the life of sinfulness is over with. That's dead. It's done. Now, what has happened now? Well, in both these verses, he says, verse 5, We'll certainly be united with him in a resurrection like his. And then the last half of verse 6, so that we might no longer be enslaved to sin. And so this, as I said, is something that happens right now. The ground that we walk on right now is the ground of the resurrection. Our relationships now with other people, with creation, even with God, is a relationship that is a resurrection relationship. It's one that is symbolized by newness of life, and in the case of baptism, it's, the baptism is a symbol of being dead with Christ and then being raised to new life up out of the water. So I suppose what I would encourage you to remember today is that when you read Paul, he's not primarily a philosopher or theologian. He's actually explaining how he thinks reality is, the nature of reality itself. And for him, it's spiritual and it's substantive. All right, let's close with this word of prayer from W.E. Orchard. O God of us all, breathe upon us now thine hallowed calm. Lift the burden from our hearts, soothe the anxieties of our minds, and send peace into our souls. Forgive the disorder, the fever, the vain purpose of our lives. We've made haste as those who believe not. We've been desperate as those who lead a forlorn hope. We have not trusted in thee, who workest evermore. We have spent our days contrary to thy plainest laws. Our eyes have been fixed to earth and rarely lifted to the hills. We have not silenced ourselves to hear, nor been patient to understand. We have been fretful as children, comfortless as those who never knew thee. We have spent our strength on things that do not profit, and labored for the bread that perisheth, while thy free and glorious gifts have lain near to us unappropriated and often spurned. Help us now to stand a while in the shelter of thy shadowing wings, and to be still, to look out again upon life with new vision, that we may understand, to wait for the revelation of thy will that shall make us calm and strong. Amen. Thank you for joining us this morning from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn, and I hope that you have a very good day. Goodbye.